Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Global News Update on TLBTV, brought to you by the Liberty Beacon Project. This is Luca Majno and my friend and special guest, Frank Gregory Ford, where we give you complete backstage and up-to-date info on the developments occurring in the world today. And we want to thank you, Greg. This is our 25th show. I had to say that. Like a quarter of a century, a quarter of something, right? This is our 25th show.
Where does the time go?
Wow. I think we should start this show with a story, since we're all sitting around the fire, right? This is what the native tradition was. When something happened in the village or somebody did something wrong, they'd all gather around in a circle and they'd tell a story. The elders would tell a story that would have everything to do with the problem at hand. And I have one for you, and most of you probably already heard of it. It's called The Two Wolves. Very quickly, this child comes up to his mother and he says, you know, I have a problem. Some days I do what you say, and I do, you know, I act like a good boy, and other days I just want to say no, and I don't want to do anything, and I want to be really mean, and I'm aggressive, and I find myself really arrogant, and I don't understand what to do about that. She says, you know what? She says, you should go down and talk to the elder on the side of the river by the teepee with the white hair. He goes over to see the old man. He walks in and he tells him the same thing. The old man looks at him, scratches his beard, and he says, you know, he says, inside us there are two wolves. He says, there's a good and there's a bad one. And there's always a fight between the two of them. And the kid looks at him and he says, well, who's going to win? The old man looks at him and he says, the one you feed the most. And this is what's going on today. We're feeding the bad wolf. And I can give you a really good example that I want to start with. Me and my allergies, forgive my eyes, raking my eyes here because I got allergies from everything going on. The thing that I want to talk about is, you know, murder. Prime example. We talk about Hillary Clinton and the murders in her clan and in her side of the world. We talked about mercenaries. We talk about Blackwater on this show. We talk about Project Pegasus. The only thing that it never stops intriguing me is how human minds are capable of doing something like this to one another. You know, at the very basic of levels, Greg, what fascinates me, and I'm showing pictures right now of Standing Rock, it absolutely stuns me. I don't understand how someone can actually be smiling or enjoying or finding it potentially hair-raising or thrilling, or that rush, I guess the word would be, to take another life or to violate someone else's space or to abuse somebody in any way. Like the idea of brutalizing the 13-year-old Palestinian child and killing him, leaving him bloodied on the street, and they're standing over him asking if they should urinate on him. These are the things that we should be talking about. How can people be so dumbed down or brainwashed to that point? And I wanted to address that today, just like I love addressing my apology to all Muslims for 9/11, just like Ken O'Keefe wrote that I love to read. We had attack dogs also brought in by G4S, an Israeli company, at Standing Rock, blood all over their mouths, ready to tear off, you know, to tear the skin off of unarmed water protectors. They use rubber bullets aiming at the groin, the genitals, the backs of those turning away. This is what I cannot wrap my head around. And my 95-year-old elder next door neighbor, she looks at me, she says, you know, there's a lot of evil in this world. And this is where the two wolves come in. So every single day we have a choice to either serve the good or the bad one. And Greg, I guess the bad one is what we're always talking about. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. You know, what comes to mind about listening to that, if you remember correctly, when the buildings were coming down, 9/11, the World Trade Center, and the film footage that I saw showing Israeli quote, art students, okay, we all know who they were now, okay, but what were they doing when 3,000 people were falling and burning and being crushed to death? They were leaping for joy, okay? They were thrilled, all right? I've seen the pictures. There's no denying it. Yes, what does that tell you, okay? It tells me is that when there's something that somebody wants and somebody else has it, and you think you can take it by force, hey, by all means, And when you get it, when you obtain it, that is a wonderful feeling for these conditioned individuals. All right. I worked as an intelligence person in a state prison system. I saw a lot of the same things. I mean, let's face it. Violence was a byword in prison, and brute force is the operating mode. Okay, so when you take the bars away, when you take the architecture away, you have people in a situation where violence is needed, like a war.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where brutality, where you can shoot, stab, torture each other, that's a desired quantity. Okay, and that came about from the career and occupation of military force. Okay, look at Syria right now. Have you ever seen anything so abominable, so hideous, so disgusting as what's going on? And what is it for? I can't really tell. Okay, I was there. I know, and I was in Iraq. I can't tell. Okay, so I think the best thing to do to prevent that or help the world understand what they're actually thinking correctly is to bring the media, bring a picture, bring several pictures, bring movies. Okay, I speak to this directly from experience, as the Department of Defense will tell you. I'm the person that told the ACLU, hell yes, there's more than 5 photos at Abu Ghraib. In fact, there's several hundred, and there's several hours of streaming video showing our troops raping, torturing, murdering, sadistically treating. I mean, it goes on and on. Okay, then what do you think happened? All of a sudden, all the let's put it behind us, that seemed to kind of talk, that stopped. Okay, you know who was doing that, of course, were the lawyers. All the lawyers. Like I say, I have a great fate waiting for most of the lawyers of the world. If I become president of the United States, they're going right into those wonderful FEMA camps. Okay. Yes. Oh, yes. And they're going to start really earning their keep. Okay. They're going to start undoing some of the damage most of the damage that they've done. All right. So I hope all lawyers that are listening to this, let us call them lawyers. Forget this attorney nonsense. Okay. Yes, I've seen what you've done to the country. Yeah, you go over to Washington. Who do you see in Washington? Washington's a mess right now. You see bankers. You see lawyers. You see lobbyists. Okay, the most greedy people in the goddamn world. Okay, that's who you see in Washington. You see elected people that have a scientific background, that are used to doing research on a problem. No, I just ran into a friend who's dying of spinal cancer. His dad was one of the leading lobbyists in California, and he told me he took his son down sometime to go in the closed chambers issues, discussing bills and their passage. And you have never seen so many well-dressed parasites standing around with their hands out. Everybody, not the slightest bit concerned of doing the job of what a politician says they're going to do, but what a politician really does behind closed doors. So let that, and by the way, most of those politicians have no problem turning on their voters, have no problem, putting together a false, fake terrorist attack, okay, and slaughtering hundreds of thousands of their own voters. No problem. Piece of cake. So yeah, that's my take on that, Luca.
It's horrible. I've even seen politicians myself. I won't say where, but I mean, I've seen them behind closed doors laughing about their own constituents, just to the point where they were idiots, morons or whatever. So, yeah, it's
just ask Jack Abramoff, the man who was referring to his own constituents that supported him. Okay, he referred to them as what was it? Aboriginals, Neanderthals, Cro-Magnons. Guess who he was talking about? He was talking about the Native Americans that supported him in their efforts to bring in gaming onto the reservations.
Mm-hmm.
And heaven forbid, actually make some money out of their situation. Jack Abramoff, remember that.
Yeah.
Oi, oi, remember Jack Abramoff. Okay. So, yeah. So, what do we got for the folks today? I've got a couple of things. Okay.
Yeah. Who did Trump not fire today?
Okay. Well, speaking of that, Mr. Trump's in a lot of trouble. He didn't listen to me. Okay. It's
Oops.
just that simple. What did I say a couple weeks ago about Mr. Trump and to Mr. Trump? Before he made his classic blunder of firing, was it, and telling the LGBT they can't join the military?
Mm.
Okay. Really stupid thing to do. Really stupid. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, imagine a politician doing something stupid, let alone a snake oil salesman that's used to selling real estate. Okay. So, but yes, I said, okay, 2 weeks ago, when it became apparent that Robert Mueller was going to be the special prosecutor investigating. What did I say? I said, Mr. Trump, if you're smart, you'll fire that son of a bitch right now. The man who covered up the 9/11 commission findings. Okay, who's the lapdog of the Bush family, loves the Clintons. Oh man, the Clintons walk on water. Okay, guess what they're going to do? Guess what Mr. Mueller's going to do to you now, Mr. Trump? Since you didn't take my advice, our advice here at the Liberty Beacon, guess what he's going to do to you? You are finished. Okay, I got word from my never-ending, absolutely unconfoundable sources, my intelligence sources. Yes. Oh, and by the way, we do have another death to report. Every week we have a death to report concerning Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it? The Arkancided, okay,
Yes.
body count, the Arkancide body count. Okay. Yeah, well, we have another one. And I actually checked this one out personally myself. Okay. Mr. Was it Scheib? Okay. The White House cook. Okay. For the Clintons, during the Clinton era, the White House cook. Okay. Well, he mysteriously, this last week, he went for a walk, and his wife called and put out the warning that he was missing. This was in Taos, New Mexico, not Teos, okay, like they say in Washington, Taos, okay. And Mr. Scheib, they went looking for him and found him face down in a creek, okay. So I did some checking, and yes, they did find him. Funny how the media treated it, though. Oh, well, just another unimportant person that seems to have died mysteriously is how the media played it, okay? Pretty much like all the people that Hillary orders killed, okay? So I did some checking, and sure enough, they're not going to do an autopsy on this man, all right, Mr. Scheib. But he had a note on him saying, if anything happens to me, AKA mysteriously happens, okay, like homicide, all right, please call a Mr. Larry Nichols with a phone number. Well, funny thing, Larry Nichols also worked for the Clintons too, okay. See a pattern forming? Anybody see a pattern forming out there? Okay. As bad as I am at mathematics, okay, I see a pattern forming here, okay? Because what we have now is the personal cook of the White House, in the White House, Mr. Scheib, okay, is dead, face down in a stream, mysteriously. Well, gee, dead bodies around the Clintons are nothing new. But I can say one thing to Mr. Trump right now about all of these murders that the Clintons have committed, and they have committed a lot of crimes. And funny how it comes out of the blue is Bill Clinton now has been diagnosed. They won't say it, Yes, but he does have AIDS, not HIV, not something that can be actually controlled,
Mm,
for years with medication. He has AIDS, okay, and he doesn't have that much longer to live, and he's actually uh, bordering on real dementia, okay. So he doesn't. I don't even think he recognizes Chelsea anymore. Okay. So he keeps looking at her and saying, "Webster, is that you?
mm,
Webster Hubble, is that you?"
yeah.
So so what we have here now is a situation where Mr. Scheib knew something that Hillary didn't want to have. Okay, come out the media, and it's the same thing that she doesn't want to have come out this week and come out next week is that, first of all, Mr. Scheid knew who was sleeping in what bedroom. Okay, it's funny how this always comes down to it, but that's what drove the Clintons. Okay, who's sleeping with who? Well, it appears now that in all the bedrooms, okay, between New York and Washington, yes, Hillary was sleeping with somebody that wasn't her husband. Imagine that poor woman, and all these years of cheating Bill.
Mm,
Okay, well, obviously, if she has a daughter that is not Bill's, well, she must have been sleeping with somebody else. Okay, and that's what Mr. Scheid knew is, being the cook, being the chef, you have to figure out who the hell is in the bedroom that you're supposed to cook for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
mm,
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you right now, turn up the volume on this issue. Will you, Luca?
yeah.
Okay. Because here's the thing. Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump, President Trump, would you please arrest the Awan brothers?
Mm,
AWAN. One of them tried to get out of the country 2 days ago. All right.
yes.
The Awan brothers. You better get them out because you're now facing a grand jury. And guess who's been doing all these naughty things for Hillary Clinton? Okay. Spying on all the politicians in Washington, murdering people. Okay. Just ask Seth Rich. Okay. Oh, he's murdered too. Okay. We're running out of people to ask.
Mm,
Okay. And I found out something very interesting. Okay. Yes, by the way, arrest those murderous Awan brothers because they are consuming taxpayer dollars and it is out, first of all, that they're murdering people. And secondly, that shows Pakistan intelligence has been spying on the United States, inside the United States. Get
yeah.
it? Okay. And there's a picture of Trey Gowdy now with one of the Awan brothers giving everybody that's going to testify against them dirty looks. Okay. Dirty looks inside senatorial chambers. Okay. Go back to Trey Gowdy, go on YouTube, and you'll see one of the Awan brothers either being arrested or sitting in chambers. All right. Please. Please, absolutely. This concerns security of the United States. Okay, and we'll just add a little icing to the cake to this drama. Okay, is get is guess who sent the tech guess who sent the technology to North Korea? Okay, to North Korea, Pakistan,
Mm,
courtesy AQ Khan.
there you
All
go.
right. Would somebody in Washington do something? Okay. I'm just a humble citizen out here, really disabled humble citizen. Okay. Government said I was just crazier, than a shithouse rat in August. And here we are in August. Okay. So hey, I think this is really appropriate. All right. Go arrest the Awan brothers. Get off your thumbs in Washington. Arrest the Awan brothers. And by the way, I know you're not going to throw Hillary into prison, which she deeply deserves. But Hillary is packing her bags to go back to Washington. Right now, as I'm saying this, she's packing her bags. She thinks she's going to be welcomed with open arms. Okay? Why is that, Mr. Trump? Because guess what? You know, you could have jumped when I told you to jump. You didn't, and now you're going to be indicted. There's a very good chance you're going to be indicted by Mr. Mueller, one of the top lapdogs of the Bush family and the Clintons. Okay, so yeah, and this all comes from those wonderful people, the Clintons. Okay,
Right.
by the way, Mr. Scheid there's no marks, no visible trauma on the body. Okay, so what that means is a professional was brought in, and he was put into a stream face down, open mouth in the stream. That means that the forensics are going to be skewed completely off the charts. Nobody will be able to find anything. Okay. So what I'm saying is, yes, he was killed by something called racine. Okay. Very, very dangerous, untraceable once it's into your system. Okay. It provides a cascading effect. Racine. Okay. Now, the following people would know about that work for Hillary Clinton. She has 2 organized crime assassins that are on her payroll. She has what is it? A Russian and an Israeli, and a Libyan working for her. This 5-man team, family made in heaven. Okay, yes, all right. Well, what she doesn't know, what they don't know, by the way, is they are on her list. There has to be a list about all this stuff. Who's going to die? Who's going to die next? Okay. Well, I told you it was going to be a good show today, Luca. All right. Well, yes, her assassins are going to be killed. Okay. The Israelis, oddly enough, have offered her, okay, a service for a fee, of course. That's the Israeli way, to kill all her now employees, all her present employees. She has a list. Okay. Guess where that list was when it was sent to Julian Assange? It was in her emails. Okay. It was in her computer.
Oops.
That blood list, that death list is in that computer. The one that uglier than a dog's butt walking backwards. What's her name? Wasserman Schultz. Okay. What do they have to screen for somebody that ugly? To get in front of a camera. But holy moly, that's the computer she wanted back. She was ranting and raving in Washington the other day. That's what it is. It has the murder list, the death list that Hillary Clinton wants rubbed out. By the way, most people that are killed, either they're going to testify against her within a couple of days, or something happened with them years ago that they've forgotten about, but she's going to make sure that they get rubbed out. That's the way the Bush family did it. Okay. As in Phil Marshall, the man who set up the drug routes for the Bushes, okay, using their company Zapata Oil from Colombia, and yeah, they killed Barry Seal, and they killed Phil Marshall, and we won't mention the thousands of American people and troops that have died because of their 9/11. Okay,
Yeah.
So Julian Assange needs to know, because he listens to the show too. I don't know if you know that or not, Luca. But Julian Assange needs to know that he does have Hillary Clinton's death list. Okay. He has it in his files. Please let him know that. Okay. And by the way, the people who put the IT codes for the cipher and the encryption, okay, it's encrypted. Okay. It's the Pakistanis, the Pakis. Okay. All right. So is this good enough for your listeners? If they wanted a little drama, a little intrigue, hey, I'm bringing it to them. Okay. Drama. That's a hua. This is a big drama day.
And
Okay.
this sounds like Project Pegasus too coming back. It really does. You know, the CIA hired assassins, as Susan Lindauer would call it.
Yes. Okay. And by the way, that was an assassination in West Virginia, an assassination attempt. You know, when they said Donald Trump went to talk to some Boy Scouts? Oh gosh, what a guy talking to the Boy Scouts. Well, it was an assassination attempt. Yes. And he was, that's why he was so shaken up when he came back to Washington. It was an assassination attempt. And he better think about his love affair with Israel, okay? Because guess who they're going to take the side of, and guess who they're going to get rid of before they get rid of Hillary Clinton, okay? They're never going to get rid of Hillary Clinton. Yeah, they love Hillary Clinton, okay? So, Mr. Trump, yes, the Israelis are going to try to kill you, okay? I can't put it any simpler than that.
I got to buy a violin so I can play the violin when we're on our show. You know.
Well, as long as you play Fiddler on the Roof, get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Remember, and by the way, those North Korean submarines, they have made several big lazy loops in the ocean, and they are back now off their own shore. They are testing, like the missile firing system. They are testing our systems, okay, to see if we actually do have a missile defense system.
Mm-hmm.
See if we really do have a submarine defense system, okay? That's what they're doing right now, all right? This Pee-wee isn't going to back off, okay? Because he's being supported by the Russians. The Russians are telling him, yeah, go get him. Go get him. Yeah, get it, Pee-wee. Get it, Shorty. You know, hey, we'll give you a new set of 5-inch lifts, okay? So, hey, there it is right there. That's what's going on in the world, okay?
Yeah. Well, we've come to the end again of one of our shows, Greg. This is amazing, and it's always good to have you on. The intent is always as important as the content. So I really, really appreciate everything you're doing. I appreciate where you're coming from, and I can't thank you enough for being a part of the show.
It was my pleasure. My pleasure, Luca.
We will talk next time, 2 days from now.
Hopefully we have a country to come back to in 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And thank your listeners for putting up with everything too. Okay. But if they want a country, they best listen to your show. That's all I can say.
We thank you. Talk to you again soon.
My pleasure.